Welcome back guys, Sly Bacon here, and welcome to Ramble with Bacon. So what is it? It is rambling with me. Did you see what I did there with the title? Yeah, that's a nice play on words, isn't it? So what's this series going to be focused on? It's basically just me talking about any game that I choose for a time that is from when I start it to when I finish it. So first up, we want to have a look at Overwatch. So myself, along with, I'm assuming a lot of you guys, had the chance to jump in and play a bit of Overwatch in the open beta. So during that time I've managed to amass about 15 hours worth of gameplay, which is obviously not as much as some people, but it's going to be a lot more than other people. And I think that's enough time for me to at least give my first impressions on the game, and where I think the game's going, and what I think the game could improve on, and what are the good points about the game. So let's jump in with the good points. As a former Team Fortress Classic clan leader for 3 years, I believe, on a competitive level, we were probably ranked 3rd in this country, and someone who's played a lot of different shooters over the years, of course, as most of you guys would have as well. Overwatch invokes the same kind of feelings I used to get. I mean, we're talking 16 years ago now. Yeah, around about 16 years ago now, I'm showing my age, when Team Fortress Classic was a thing. Agreeably, it was a niche thing, but it was still a thing, and obviously compared to Counter-Strike, it wasn't as big as Counter-Strike, but it was a lot more community focused and a lot more team-based focus, of course, which again Overwatch is as well. And obviously Team Fortress 2 came out, but I think Team Fortress 2 lost something from Team Fortress Classic. It didn't feel the same, didn't feel like the same game, there wasn't like the same objectives and stuff. It just didn't feel the same, right? Overwatch feels like Team Fortress Classic. It really does. It invokes all the same feelings that we used to have about, you know, working as a team, and you've got to do this and you've got to do that to get to whatever the objective is. Speaking of objectives, let's talk about those for a minute. So basically there's 2 game modes in Overwatch at the moment. There is capture or defend point A and B, or whatever, C. No, there is no C, it's just A and B. Yep, so capture or defend point A and B, and also move payload from point A to point B. And each map is a combination of those 2 modes, or one of those modes by itself, which I think's kind of enough for release, I guess. I'm kind of disappointed there's no Capture the Flag, and I know Capture the Flag is a very old style of game, but I would love to see it in this. Obviously Tracer would be a bit of an issue in Capture the Flag, and probably to a lesser degree Reaper, and maybe Widowmaker as well with her grappling hook. That might be an issue as well. So how would they balance around that? I'm not 100% sure. Would it really matter? Like, the maps are pretty big. Would it matter that... again, it's just Tracer. Tracer's the only one that's going to be an issue. Widowmaker has enough cooldown on her grapple hook. That's not really an issue. Reaper can only teleport so far. The thing they could do is, if you're carrying the flag, you can't use those abilities. Simple as that. You know, it's an easy fix. It would mean that you wouldn't use those characters for Capture the Flag, which would kind of be an issue in itself, because now you're like excluding 3, maybe 4 or 5 characters because you can't use their abilities while carrying the flag. But yeah, I don't know. Capture the Flag would be fantastic. I don't know if they can make it work with their current skill set that the characters have, but I would love to see it. I'd love to see it at least try. Think about, okay, going back to Team Fortress Classic, your flag runners in that were either your scout or your medic, right? So your scout was super fast, but he died really fast. Your medic was a little bit slower, but a bit tougher. You didn't like counter them with scouts or medics, right? You countered them with soldiers and engineers and heavies, right? We have those classes in Overwatch, so why wouldn't it work? I mean, yeah, the teleport thing is a bit of an issue. More so Tracer, so she runs in, she does her 3 blinks out, but once she does her 3 blinks, she's kind of stuffed, right? She can't run away. She can't go back in time. Why is she going to go back in time? To go back into the flag room? No, that's not going to happen. So I think it could work. I really do. And I would absolutely love to see it. I would love to play it. Alright, so let's talk about the characters for a minute. So at release there's 21 characters, which is obviously a good number. It's actually a pretty large number of characters, with varying requirements for skill levels, let's just say. Some of them are a lot easier to jump into than others, and a lot of them are going to require a higher skill ceiling than a lot of the other classes as well. I don't think we've seen anybody hit that kind of skill ceiling yet, and it's going to be not until we really have team versus team and ultra competitive modes that we're not going to really find out what the true balance is of these classes. But just from a public point of view, there's some classes that are definitely a bit more powerful than other ones. I'm not going to say that there's any overpowered classes, because I don't think there is. There's some classes that are overpowered in certain situations, but then in other situations they're underpowered, so it kind of counters each other. And As I said earlier, I don't think we've really hit a skill ceiling yet with any of the classes, actually, and it's not going to be until probably a year later, or in 6 months' time, maybe up to a year later, until we really start to see what the top guys in this game can actually do with each class, and past that, what they can do with each combination, and what combination is going to work best, and what combination counters it, and then we get into the meta game, and it's going to be amazing what they actually come up with for this. So as far as balance goes, I think they've hit the nail on the head, to be completely honest. Really hard to balance 21 characters right. I think they've done a fantastic job. Okay, so let's talk about the maps. The maps is 10 on release, so it's a good variety. Each map feels a lot different. I think the maps are well designed, as you would expect from Blizzard. The aesthetics of each map is different enough that you don't feel like you're just replaying the same map over and over with a different skin on it. The different game modes per map definitely help. I think the maps are good. There's nothing really to be said about the maps, to be honest. They're good. Maps are one of those things that you don't really notice unless they're bad, right? If they're good, they kind of do their thing and you don't really know that they're there. If they're bad, you definitely notice a bad map. Right, so replayability, which is obviously a big issue with a lot of games nowadays, because apparently you need trinkets and stuff to continue playing a game. Back in my day, we didn't have such things, son. Nope, you just played a game. Nothing changed, you just played the same game over and over and over. Yeah, let's not talk about that. Right, so oh no, God, everybody's just left the video. No, well, the replayability is really good. Obviously the gameplay itself is good, but we're talking about like the loot and stuff, and each class has a lot of stuff you can unlock. The loot box is nice. I'm kind of glad that they went down this route and they didn't like do weapon unlocks or skill unlocks or character unlocks or something like that. These are just cosmetic things that don't really affect the game in any way, shape or form, which I think is the way they need to go. I think just from what I've seen, there's enough variety in the skins to give basically everybody what they want for each individual class. Obviously it's going to take a long time for everybody to unlock everything. You can buy ones if you specifically want one, so that is another nice feature, and then you can just collect the ones that you didn't want specifically straight off the bat. But yeah, no, I think that's good. I think the loot way that they've done it is very good, and yeah, I'm glad they didn't go down the route of unlocking weapons or unlocking classes or things like that. Right, so that's all the good stuff. Alright, you're still here, you're going to listen to some of the bad stuff. So, the main question is, and please don't use this video as a review, because it's not, it's just me rambling. But if you want to use it as a review, that's up to you, I can't really help that. Alright, so the bad stuff. I am not going to buy the game. Simple as that. And the reason I'm not going to buy the game is, although it's fun, although it's competitive in a public setting, although I could actually play it for hours and hours, to be completely honest. One of the issues I have with it is the utter reliance that you have on your teammates. If you're playing with a team, like with your team of friends or a clan or whatever, it's not an issue, right? But if you're playing in public, you're solely reliant on what the other people can do. That I'm not happy to pick up the game as somebody who predominantly plays by himself. I don't particularly play with other people, mainly because I don't have really anybody that's interested in this type of thing. And yes, I could join a community and get part of a clan and stuff like that, but I don't really want to be completely honest. I'd rather just play it by myself. Which is really the only reason I'm not going to be picking it up, and it is really the only downside that I can actually see to Overwatch is the reliance on the team to whether you have basically a good experience or not. You know, in some maps you just get steamrolled and there's absolutely nothing you can do. Other maps you steamroll them and there's absolutely nothing you can do. Agree, we are still in early days, and people's, as I've talked about earlier, people's skill ceiling is probably quite low. But I think it's actually going to get worse as people get better at the game. Because you're going to get the newer people, or the people who don't play as much, are going to stay basically at the same level. They're going to improve a wee bit over time, but the people who played a lot, they're going to jump straight up, and they're going to be so much better than those people that it's just going to be absolutely ridiculous. And then if you go into public, you go into pub stomping and things like that, which of course is not fun. It's not the only game that has this issue. Call of Duty, Battlefield, to a degree, have the same sort of issue, but even in those games, you can kind of really influence the outcome of the game for one person. You know, one person can dominate another team completely. It's not the same in Overwatch, or I don't get the same feeling that it is. Yes, one person can make a difference, and they do, but they're not going to completely own another team by themselves. They need people that are at least competent to support them, for them to be able to do what they want to do. So really that's the only negative side that I have seen for Overwatch so far. Again, I think it's a great game. I think it's well worth people's money to pick it up. Like I said, I mean, I've already jumped in and done 15, 16 hours or whatever I've done so far just in the beta. So, I mean, on that alone, it's worth the cost, right? And I am going to pick it up at some point. I'm just not going to pick it up on release. I will pick it up when it comes on special. If it's $30 or whatever in New Zealand, it's well worth the price. It is well worth the price. But if we're talking about $60, no, I've got other things I'd rather spend that money on at this stage. But don't let that detract from the game itself, because the game is fantastic. Definitely one of the best shooters that has come out in a long time in this genre. I'm going to love to see where the competitive scene goes. I'm not going to stop following Overwatch. I will continue to follow it because I think it's a really fascinating game with definitely a lot of potential. So, anyway, guys, that's probably enough. We're around 10 minutes, I guess, of me rambling. That's probably enough of me rambling for one video. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Maybe you've gained something out of this that you didn't already know. I'm probably thinking you didn't, but anyway, if you did, that's awesome. Remember, if you did like the video, to hit that like button. And thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time.